The Indian Education Commission 1882. In this session, we are going to discuss the background for setting up of the Commission, aims and objectives of the Commission, recommendations on primary education, secondary education and higher education, the merits and demerits of the Commission. So this Indian Education Commission, also known as Hunter Commission. What are the background of the appointment of the Commission? The revolt of 1857 shook the very foundation of British Empire in the country, and the administration was taken away from the company and transferred to the crown. The normalization of condition took some time. By 1882, it was considered and necessary to assess the development of education in the country and to remove the defects which has crept into it. Immediately after coming to India as Governor General, Lord Ripon appointed the first Indian Education Commission on 3rd February 1882. Sir William Hunter was made its chairman, and so it is popularly known as Hunter Commission. The commission had 20 members, some of whom were Indians. The aims of the commission. First one, to assess the position of primary education and to give suggestions for its reforms. Second, to evaluate the work of the missionaries in the field of education. Third, to find out the government institutions should be allowed to continue. Fourth, to assess the utility of the grant in aid system, to find out the attitude of the government towards the private Indian enterprises in the field of education. Fifth, the main purpose of the commission was to study the problem of primary education and to suggest measures for its reforms. But the commission also chose to look into affairs relating to secondary and higher education. What are the recommendations on primary education? The Hunter Commission studied the problems of primary education from every angle and gave elaborate suggestions for its reforms. Primary education should be regarded as the instruction of the masses through the vernaculars in such subjects will fit them for their position in life, and should not necessarily be regarded as a portion of instruction leading up to higher education of the university. While every branch of education can justly claim the fostering care of the state in the present circumstances of the country to declare the primary education of the masses, its provision, extension and improvement to be that part of the education system to which the strenuous effort of the state should now be directed in a still larger measure than heretofore. Primary education be extended in backward districts, especially in those inhabited mainly by aboriginal races, by the instrumentality of the department pending the creation of school boards or by willing to set up the maintained schools. Regarding the legislation and administration, the Commission recommended that the control of primary education should be handed over to district and municipal boards. On the subject of encouragement of indigenous schools, the Commission expressed the opinion that these schools deserve encouragement and incorporation into the official system of education. Recommendations on school curriculum. It should be adapted to the environment and should be simplified wherever possible. Practical subjects like Indian methods of arithmetic and accounts should be introduced. School managers should be free to choose the textbooks for their schools. Utmost elasticity should be permitted with regard to the hours of the day and seasons of the year during which the schools are to function. Instruction should be through the mother tongue of the children. the training institutions. The Commission recommended that in order to raise the standard of primary education, the teachers should be properly trained, and for this purpose, normal schools should be established. Finance. The Commission recommended that a specific fund should be created for primary education. The accounts of the primary education funds in municipal areas should be separated from those for the rural areas in order to avoid the expenditure in municipal areas of money meant for the villages. The local funds should be utilized mainly for primary education and only incidentally, if at all, for secondary and collegiate education. It should be the duty of the government to assist the local funds by the suitable system of granting aid. Indigenous schools. At the time of Hunter Commission, there were many indigenous institutions imparting education to people on the old traditional Indian pattern. The Commission regarded these schools as very useful for imparting primary education, so it recommended financial grants for them. Secondary education. The Commission recommended that for the expansion and spread of secondary education, the government, through the system of granting aid, should give the organization and administration of secondary education into the hands of efficient and able Indians and get itself relieved of the responsibility of running secondary education. The government may, however, open its schools at such places where it is not possible for the Indian public to run such schools. At least one model high school may be opened in such districts where they may be required in the interest of the people, and the people themselves may not be advanced enough due to financial problem to establish such schools for themselves. State government should provide them with a granting aid. In the upper classes of high school, there should be two divisions, one leading to the entrance examination of the universities and the other of a more practical character intended to fit youths for commercial or non-literary pursuits. English should continue as medium of instruction at this stage of education. Higher education. The Commission recommended, while giving granting aid to the colleges, the rate of aid to each college should be determined by the strength of the staff and the expenditure on maintenance, the efficiency of the institution and the needs of the locality. In case of need, non-recurring or special grant may be given to the colleges for establishing library or for other educational equipments. Varied and vast curricula should be arranged in the colleges so that the students may offer subjects of their choices and aptitude. Meritorious and promising students may be sent to England for higher education on government scholarships. To raise moral standard of students, such books should be compiled as may contain principles of religion and human religion at large. The number of students receiving free education should be limited. Private colleges should be authorized to charge lesser fee as compared to government colleges. In appointment of teachers, preference should be given to those persons who have received their education in European universities. Let us go and see the merits of Hunter Commission. The Commission made recommendations on almost all aspects of Indian education. It specially analyzed the aspects of primary education and tries to make its responsibility of the state. It made primary education practical and useful by including in its curriculum subjects like agriculture, medicine, trigonometry, arithmetic, and accounts. The Commission showed liberal attitude towards Indians by not giving place of prominence to Christian missionaries in Indian education. Thus, the propaganda of Christianity through education was checked to some extent. It rendered service to Indian society by making primary education as the instruction of masses through the medium of Indian languages. It did a good job in recommending primary education in such subjects as will fit Indians for their position as life, and primary education be not necessarily regarded as a portion of instruction leading up to higher education. The recommendations made by the Commission in the field of female education, education of Muslims, adult education, and the education of Harijans, backward classes, aboriginals, and hill tribes provided of great value and significance. The recommendations of the Commission with regard to granting aid system went a great way in improving and regularizing system. What are the demerits of Hunter Commission? The Commission made the recommendations that in order to expand secondary education, the government through the system of granting aid should give the administration and organization of secondary education into the hands of efficient and able Indians and get itself relieved of the responsibility of running secondary educations. This recommendation was to prove a great hurdle in the development of Indian education. The recommendation that private institutions should charge less fees than the government institutions was not only unfair, but it also created unhealthy competition in education. The Commission shifted the responsibility of primary education from the state to the local bodies improperly. The lack of resources and the lack of efficiency in these bodies proved very harmful to the development of education. By recommending examination results to be the main basis giving granting aid to primary schools, the Commission greatly harmed primary education because then it became only examination oriented. The recommendation of establishing separate Muslim schools for primary education encouraged communalism. The Commission continued English as the medium of instruction at the secondary level, but didn't specify the medium at middle level. This policy increased the indifference in languages. Its recommendations regarding vocational education were very superficial and did not have any impact. Not much and worthwhile attention was given to the training institutions by the Commission. The Commission did not give any serious thought to the curriculum of higher education. According to A.N. Basu, secondary education succeeded in producing literary-minded persons, but failed to turn out the practically minded workers best suited to the battle of life. The recommendations of the Commission have a special place in the history of Indian education. The Commission tried to give the direction to Indian education which was in bad shape. The Commission encouraged private enterprises in the field of education. This helped the development of education in the country. Assignments. Examine the recommendations of the Hunter Commission for reforms of primary education. What is the importance of Hunter Commission in the history of Indian education? Thank you.